It's Monday on Daily Delivery. Michael Rand here. Patrick Reusse back with me this week. Patrick, how you doing?
I am doing just fine.
Good. You had a pinch hitter last week, Chip Scoggins, performed admirably in your stead, but you're not getting Wally pipped. You're right back in here, and we got a lot to get to today, Patrick, because we're right in the heart of playoffs. Wolves win Saturday. We're going to start there. Wild lost last night. We got to get to the Twins too, Patrick, because 7-15 warrants our attention. But yeah, Wolves. Man, I don't know. I'll be curious to see what happens in game 2, but I don't know. It was a little bit more than just they were making shots. They looked like the better team for most of that game, did they not?
Well, much deeper.
Yeah.
And Luka, you gotta really watch Luka to appreciate how horrible he is on defense. He just waddles around like the fat ass he is, and waves. I mean, he's great offensively. I don't deny that, but he's so bad on defense. All he does is point. Tell him, hey, go cover my guy.
You cover that guy. I'll be over here.
Too slow to get on the court.
Where's Conley? I want to guard Conley.
And I mean, he got 37 or something. I mean, he had 16 right off the bat.
Yes.
And he scored, but man alive, that was a horrendous defensive effort by the Lakers. People are saying, well, the Timberwolves will never go 21-42 for 42 again on threes. Well, they will if you don't go out and guard them. They let them. All of them were open, wide open. It was, they basically stand and catch, and nobody guard them. So they made their open threes, and Nas was fantastic, and McDaniels was fantastic, and they were by far the better team. Now, even then, the NBA is so weird now. They got it down to like 12 or something today, but I never thought they were in trouble. They really played good. Everybody moved the ball. Ant wasn't forcing anything. Randall played great. As I said, McDaniels was great. Reed was great. They were, that was definitely their A game. And
it was.
They're not going to cruise through the Lakers, but Lakers got some. They had some come to Jesus time after that game because they did not guard anybody. And LeBron, I think the funniest, who was the play-by-play? Who was doing play-by-play?
The
play-by-play guy.
God, I can't remember. Billis was doing the game, right? But it was
Billis was there. But he had one of the funniest comments at the end there when LeBron got in a wrestling match with the guy.
Oh yeah,
he said, "And LeBron's not a complainer." Huh?
Yes.
I said,
not a complainer.
Not a complainer? No, because they give him every call, but when he hit the call, not a complainer. I heard that. I said, he's not a complainer?
Yeah.
Okay. I just, he's been one of the world-class complainers forever. It was really weird, but, it was a 10. That performance was a 10.
Yeah.
It was as good as a team could play, and they just shared the ball so well. Nobody was selfish, and it was just a wonderful performance. And I mean, after the bad start, right? And then absolute blew them out. They've had some huge quarters lately. The 50-pointer, and then that. 38-20 in the second quarter, right? I think was Saturday. So it was hellacious. I really didn't. Did you going in the second half? I didn't think there was anything the Lakers could do about it. The Lakers are not as deep as I thought they were. They're not known for their depth, but this Reeves is the third guy that they like to have shoot, but. Like this Hachimura and some of those guys. I thought they were better players than that. They're not really getting much usage, and I don't. I'm not declaring victory here, but I think that I do think the Lakers are. The Timberwolves are a better team. I think they're more good players for sure.
Oh, for sure. And that's, I mean, here's the thing. We know the Wolves, that was about as well as the Wolves are probably going to play, certainly shoot, certainly in the last 3 quarters. What we got to know now is how close to their worst were the Lakers? Was that just a terrible game and they come back and they win game 2 and now it's a series again? Or are they overvalued? And I got a question about Luka. Does Luka really want to be in Los Angeles? Like he's something about this vibe in LA where guy gets traded after thinking he's going to be in Dallas for the rest of his career. Yeah, it's to a great spot. He gets to be LeBron's teammate, but like something about Luka just kind of makes me wonder if he needs a whole off season to reset. I know he had 37 in that game, but there's something about the vibe there right now that makes me wonder if that's going as well as we think it is in Los Angeles. I don't know.
Well, I look at him and I understand fully why Dallas didn't want to give him all that money, that give him the absolute super max, and because everybody always just looks at the points. He'll score points. There's no doubt about it, but he is awful defensively, and the rest of it is, he's waddling down the court 12 feet behind the action all the time, and he's only 26 or something.
Right,
but
he's 26.
He looks like 35. He's going to be a flame out, and I wouldn't want to be stuck with 5 years, 270,
3 something. Yeah, I think.
I wouldn't have done that either. I think they made a very good decision, and but. Still, I guess we got to wait till Tuesday and see if that's
Tuesday will tell us
if that's them or not. But that was a wonderful performance by the Timberwolves and really got everybody back on the bandwagon for sure. That's right?
Oh yeah. I think got everybody back on the bandwagon. I think we talked about Ant. That was about as well as he can probably play as far as from a decision making standpoint. McDaniels was like 11 of 13. Like some of these things are not going to repeat at the levels, but I also thought they missed a lot of shots at the rim. Like that's an area where you can say, okay, well, they're probably not going to shoot 50% from 3. They're probably also not going to miss 8 to 10 of those layups. So I think there's room for them to be pretty good in this series. There's room for them to be comfortably ahead in some of these games, I would say. So they're not having to win those clutch time games. Because I think going into the series, we thought the clutch time thing is the thing that's going to really test them the most because, you got Luka, you got LeBron. If you get into these games like the NBA so often is where it's, 3 points between the teams with 4 minutes left, that's where the Lakers have the big advantage, right? Like those
I'm not a paranoid guy about the officials, but those 2 guys are going to get the calls. They're going to get the calls. Down the stretch, correct. They're going to get the calls. I thought as the Wolves were blowing them out, they were still getting the calls.
The fouls were 21-10 in favor of the Lakers. Yeah, first foul on the Lakers was with 4 minutes left in the first half.
In the first half, yes. Yeah. I mean, they were still robbing them, and we never heard what Finchie did to get the technical.
No, he didn't.
I didn't see it. He was. I know there'd just been a bad play that the foul wasn't called or something.
Sure.
And he must have, he just said something. They say that he's a unanimated referee baiter of the first magnitude. He's very good at it because he talks to them a lot. But
with a straight face.
With animated,
not usually
animated style. But, well, they've had some amazing things happen. I wrote about it today in a rather strange manner, but Randall was, the fact that he turned out to be a player that could fit in like this is just a shock to me because early in the year he drove me nuts. He just sort of he'd get a rebound, dribble up, hold the ball for a minute and a half, and you never had any idea what he was trying to do. But the more you watch it, the more you see is in the game of basketball, you only got 5 guys and they got to figure out a way to fit together, and especially at that level. And it took a long time for those guys. But I don't know. You'd like to think this was not an outlier, that they're going to play something near like this. And they aren't going to make 21 threes, but as I said, they're they're still a very good 3-point shooting team.
Yes.
That's
yes.
You know
And to
who
your
had
point,
the quiet 25? Jaden McDaniels. He had a great game, and it was
he was great. 11 of 13.
Yes,
11 of 13, and he made his threes too. And that's again, you're right. The 21 of 42 jumps off the page, but at least on the broadcast, they made the point that I was thinking, which is, a lot of these are wide open catch and shoot threes. Those are kind of like those are the ones you want to be shooting. It's not like the late in the clock, got a desperation step back, or like even off the dribble. Like I think I see the rate of makes in the NBA on catch and shoot is like 37% across the league, while off the dribble is 32%. Like the ideal three is the kind of three they almost exclusively got in that game, which was off of an assist, catch and shoot in rhythm, and it went in a lot.
What we have discovered, though, is when push comes to shove with our wily coach, he's going to play his 8 veterans.
Yeah. Well,
he might let Clark sneak out there for a few minutes to guard somebody, although he didn't, but he's going to play his 8 guys.
Well, that's the playoffs, though. I mean, that's not too uncommon in the playoffs. But yes, I think we were one rotation away from seeing Jalen Clark, but then they blew their doors off in the second quarter, and he just decided not to mess with a good thing because they still got everybody adequate rest. It wasn't like they had to go 42 minutes on Ant. He and I think Randall each played 35, but that doesn't feel unreasonable.
It was wonderful to see Ant not forcing things just because he wasn't getting his big point total, So that was you just hope that he would stay in that mentality and not that anybody who thinks that what Ant's going to be like when he wakes up in the morning that day, I don't think has any idea. I think if you're coaching Ant, you're just as curious as anybody else what he's going to be when he walks into the arena. I would think he is not in an angry way, but he is a volatile personality. There's no doubt.
Free spirit too.
And what is going through his head is anybody's guess, including Ant's, I think. So anyway,
all the beat guys though they kind of pegged it though. They were saying they hadn't seen him so focused and locked in before in that kind of Wednesday session that was a few days before the game, and it kind of turned out to be a predictor of how he was going to play. He threw one of that first possessions, I can't remember if it was the first or second possession, he threw it like 3 rows deep into the seats on a pass for a turnover. That was his only turnover of the whole game. And so he ended up playing a very calm, measured, controlled game, had to leave for a little bit with that calf cramping. I love when they said he was questionable to return with calf cramping, and then 30 seconds later he's at the scorer's table.
Yeah, that's right.
He's cramping. He's coming back. Okay, guys.
Well, he got absolutely mauled on that play too, and they didn't call a foul. Yeah. What was that? I mean, it was he goes up, the guy knocks him down, and they don't call anything. It was obviously they were. The NBA is into the let them beat each other up in the playoffs. Now I haven't seen some of the other games, but they obviously were not calling much in that game.
Which generally I think would benefit the Wolves. They were the more physical team. They're going to probably guard harder. Lakers didn't have a foul till 4 minutes left in the first half, but they also didn't play enough close defense to maybe warrant a foul. Usually, the Wolves were shooting threes, so I don't know. I think if that's the way the series is going to be called, that probably does benefit the Wolves ultimately. But we'll see. Tuesday will be huge. They got it. They can't just be satisfied with winning one in LA. Go take control of the series on Tuesday. Go make sure we know who the better team is.
We always, I think we all have a tendency to forget that they came home 2-0 last year and then lost 3 straight. And
Denver, yeah,
and to Denver, but that Denver team was better than this Laker team,
for sure. I think that's true.
Yeah, well, yes, they have a much better player than anybody else in the world has. So anyway, it was. I tell you, I would have liked to be a Memphis fan yesterday. That
131 to 80.
What was it? At one point, it was like 125 to 62 or something like that. Unbelievable. That Oklahoma City team is. 68-14 they went this year in the West.
And everyone's like, and everyone's still skeptical of them. They're like, you got to do it in the playoffs. We're like, I mean, which is true, but it's like they finished 16 games ahead of anybody else in the conference. Like
they had 130 some, and the superstar scored 15. He let everybody else score.
They're pretty good. They're pretty good. I like John Morant after the game too, guaranteeing that Memphis will never play that badly again. Like, well, they better not. Like, it's probably not as bad as you should ever play.
If you play twice as good, you're going to lose by 20. Okay, so,
right. Exactly.
Yeah, you got no chance. Okay, just be happy that you made it to the playoffs. So.
I was worried for a while that we might have potential for dueling long playoff runs in this market, but I think those fears were put to rest last night. I think Vegas is going to take care of the Wild pretty easily in this series. I don't think the Wild have the muscle or the penalty kill to keep up with them. 4-2 was the final. They did get back to 3-2, but empty netter with 1 second left to the thrill of anybody who had the over on the 5.5.
And it was 1.5 goals too, right? So
that's right.
The other one, yeah. I'll tell you, Vegas is big. I don't think they're that fast.
They're not. No.
I like the mobility of the Wild, but I think they'll hang around for a while. I really do. I don't see it as a mismatch. Vegas is, they got all these old warriors who've been through this before. I mean, there's never been an expansion team that was given the talent that these guys were. It's incredible. They've been in the finals, 3 times already or something? And
twice or 3 times. They won it all a few years ago, right?
Yes. I mean, they got some crusty old guys, that's for sure. But I don't know. It's hockey. They got the bad unis, man. Maybe the unis make them look slow. The Army unis, right. But man, they're big. The forwards are just huge, and they just try to beat you by muscling you. They're not doing anything like the Kaprizov pass to Boldy that was fantastic. And
that was a great goal.
And I don't know. I'm not convinced. I would guess Vegas, gets, probably wins it, but they might have to win it by winning Game 7 at home. I think it'll go on for a while. I think I just didn't see a mismatch. I don't know. I didn't see a mismatch. So.
Well, Gus can certainly play a little bit better. That power play goal, as much of a mismatch as that's going to be, because I think Vegas has like a top 3 power play and the Wild have a bottom 3 penalty kill, so they got to stay out of the box. Very first penalty you see on Eriksson's neck in the whole game on either team, 5 seconds later, it's in the back of the net. But Gus just didn't even see where the puck went. Like, it was a one-timer. Guy passes from kind of the center slot to the left side, and it just goes he just gets a wide open net basically to shoot into. And, I think, if they're going to win, they're going to need to get more from him. I just don't love the matchup. I think this could be a 5-gamer. This could be a 4-1 kind of series, but maybe I'm wrong.
That first goal against him, some guy put it into the size of a stub over his shoulder.
That was a snipe. Yeah, the guy just
from in close. How he got the puck that high, I have no idea.
He picked Faber's pocket too. That was a bad. That was a bad one.
Yeah, that was a Faber. Faber gave that one up. What were the reviews of Zeev? Did he play much?
He played a decent amount. I think he was fine.
Yeah. I don't know him, but they looking at him over on the bench and stuff like that. Looks like a cocky little fella. He looks like he's very confident in Zeeb. So we'll see. We'll see.
19-year-old making his debut in the playoffs. You better have some kind of confidence.
That's true. That's true. But John Merrill, the Public's whipping boy, was benched yesterday in favor of Zeeb, right? He was the guy that sat, right? Merrill. So, I don't know. They'll win a game or two. 6 minimum, I say. 6 minimum.
6 minimum? Okay. I was just looking up Zeev's numbers, how much he played. He played 13 minutes. That's not
too bad.
That's not that bad. He played more shifts than Bogosian, probably because he got power play time too, which makes sense.
Did Faber play 28 again like he usually does?
Faber played 27, 57.
It's unbelievable how
he's
much
the new suitor. He's the new suitor.
Yeah.
Brodeen played almost 26, and then you had Spurgeon and Middleton had about 20 each, and then Zeev had 13 minutes. But he wasn't on the ice for. Doesn't look like he was on the ice for any of the goals. His plus minus was 0, so he was, unless it was one that canceled each other out. He had a couple hits. He took a shot. It seemed like he was fine. He wasn't not a big impact either way, but
Remember now when Vegas come in, do they still do all the pregame craziness that they did before? Because I didn't think the crowd was that loud. I didn't think it was. I didn't get the impression it was like a crazy crowd last night. Just watching it during the normal action, anyway.
I wasn't watching the crowd close enough to know. I think they must, especially because it's game 1 of the playoffs. But yeah, I don't know. It's
spoiled. They're spoiled out there.
Do I see this next game? Is it 10 o'clock?
I believe it is, yes.
Can that be true? 10 o'clock? I thought that should be illegal. 10 o'clock?
I know. What do they have? What TNT's doing it now, and they're having triple headers or something? Is that right? So what happens when one of those goes overtime and they're not done till 11:30? What are they gonna? What happens to the 10 o'clock start? Do they just?
That's a great question. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose they can hold. What they used to do with the NBA is they moved it over to TBS when
right, or True TV or something. Yeah, I think the Tuesday games look like they're ESPN games, unless I'm reading this wrong.
Well, they must have a triple header then.
They do. Yeah, it looks like 5 o'clock, 7:30, and 10. But that.
Oh yeah, okay. A 2.5 hour hockey game. Okay.
Yeah. Good luck with. Yeah.
SOBs.
What if one of these goes to overtime? The Wild game's going to start at 10:30 local time.
Yes, at least. Yeah.
Come on. It's 10 o'clock. That's ridiculous. And then the next one here doesn't start until 8. That's not too bad, at least. And then I think they get an afternoon game somewhere in there. Yeah, 3 o'clock on Saturday for game 4. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, at least the Wolves Lakers isn't that late, right? It's like, what's this one? 9? The next one? I can't remember.
I don't know. They all think we're in the West. We're not West.
Realignment can't come soon enough.
NBA team in the East for sure. I don't think we have a chance to get the Wild moved, but the Wolves have it. When Seattle and Las Vegas get basketball teams, we're going to the East, damn it.
Let's go. Let's trade all those 9 o'clock start times for 6 o'clock start times. Let's do it.
Isn't it amazing, though, the NBA with the whole, the big market advantage that we've always had. Everybody wanted to go to, Boston or that you got a team from Oklahoma City that's the dynasty. That's unbelievable.
And Cleveland's the other great, the best team in the best teams in the NBA this year were Cleveland and Oklahoma City. So
yes.
Try that one out. Although it'll probably end up being like Boston, Oklahoma City is probably the finals that you would guess it is.
Cleveland's real, man. They're good.
They're real. I want to see it.
I was worried about my guy Tibbs going in the opener, but they had a 21-0 run against
that'll help.
The Detroit team, and so they got through the first one, because I guess if Tibbs don't get through the first rounds, it's goodbye Tibbs. And they'll have to play the Celtics in round 2, which will be if they get through, which will be a challenge. I believe they went 0-4 against them in the regular season.
They went 0-10 against all the best teams in the league this year. That's the stat they like to throw out at Tibbs, and and rightfully so.
I'm glad to be rid of him. Cat man, goodbye.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad to be rid of him.
Yep. Speaking of rid of. 7-15 Twins, Patrick. And we had there was a tiny bit of momentum after they took those last 2 against the Mets. You're feeling Good. You got that walk-off win on which day was that? Wednesday, I think. And then they had the off day.
They're ahead
And then you
5-1, 4-1, 4-1. They're ahead 4-1 against Boston,
Yep.
against Atlanta in the
Atlanta. And then,
eighth was it? The Griffin,
eighth inning. Griffin Jacks comes in and
comes in eighth, throwing the ball good. He's just missing the plate, and then then that idiot France jumps in front of the ball. Nice little bounce, 3-hopper to the second baseman. And then when France dives over there, Jax doesn't know what to do. He kind of runs. So otherwise, you got 2 outs, 1 on, and no runs have scored if you make that play, right?
Okay. I thought it was first and third when that happened, but I could be wrong. Okay. I thought it was first and third.
Well, then they would have scored a run. So
one in, 4-2. Yeah, I mean, you're fine. You're fine at that point. So.
Yes, and you get 2 outs, and then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. And then the next 2 days are mismatches, and they're just bad. Well, this is a bad team. I don't care what anybody tries to tell me. The Vasquez, get him out of here. He's 3 for 30. He's a good framer. He's an automatic out. The other day, you go out of your way to have both him and Jeffers playing. Ty France, second base, Julian, he can get ahead. Okay. Third baseman now, Brooks Lee, he can't hit. Okay. Correa's looks like he's 90. Buxton's playing, he's the best player. And, how long is he going to be healthy? Get rid of him. Pablo, you want Pablo? Call me up. Give me 3 people. This got to be 82, like Calvin. Trade everybody that anybody wants and start worrying about 2 years from now, because this is not going to work. This is a bad team, terrible lineup, and okay pitching, but not
that's true
class. So
the lineup's the worst part of this. As bad as the defense has been at times, and I think you're right about that, and as bad as the pitching has been in bad spots, like Griffin Jacks, a couple blow-ups, some really short starts. Like, the pitching is the least of their problems. The lineup does not scare a single person. It does not scare anybody. I mean, I think Luke Keyshaw might be a decent hitter. That's fine. He had a decent debut this weekend, but like, you just look at the lineup when they trot those guys out there. What are you supposed to be afraid of in this lineup? Nothing. There's nobody. And Lewis is hurt. Wallner's hurt. I get it. Before Wallner got hurt, this was a bad lineup. This is when everybody's healthy. This is a bad lineup.
So I got a question for you.
Okay.
What is it going to be a more difficult secret to get? War plans from Pete Hegseth, or how many Twins TV subscriptions have been sold? Which do you think will be a better kept secret? I would say the number of subscriptions for Twins TV going to be much easier to find out than who we're going to attack next from Pete Hegseth.
I'm starting to take it personally that I haven't been on any of these leak chats. I mean,
Yeah, that's right.
Seems like everybody else has.
Mr. Rice, can you hold?
Why not me?
Seth, he wants to tell you what our plans are for Honda. What a moron. Anyway.
Your larger point is a good one, though. They I don't think they want to tell anybody how many is, unless it's a positive number. I think we heard. Weren't they pretty eager to share that the Padres had sold like 40,000 at some point last year? Here's what I don't get.
Also drew 3 million.
But here's what I don't get though. Like, they've got to be getting some money from the distribution of these games. That's what nobody talks about. They keep saying, we know that Bally was giving them $55 million in 2023. We don't know exactly what the number was last year, but it was discounted. Like, MLB is not just getting these games for free. Like, they got to be getting some money for MLB to have the right to distribute these games. I want to know what that dollar figure is too, in addition to what they're getting from Twins TV, because they got to be getting something for that. This is not a free. They're just giving this product away for free. I don't get it. I don't know what the economics of this is, but obviously it's not what it used to be for a lot of these teams.
Interesting to see how Channel 9 did with the game, last Tuesday, right?
Yes, they have 10 of those games this year. Yep. They have 10 of those games this year. I mean,
I tell you, the interest is, they're going to have, if they play here the next 4 nights, next 4 days.
Oh, yeah. Chicago.
Probably an afternoon game. They're going to have 3,000 if they're lucky. It's going to be like, my favorite time as a beat writer was when I was a beat writer in the in the 70s at Met Stadium, and after Labor Day you played nothing but night games. You go out there, it'd be 1,800 people on a nice afternoon. You'd show up an hour before the game. You could park 12 feet away from the front door.
Yes.
It was great. And, charge you like $4. It's going to be, the trouble is, I wonder what are they going to do with all the concession stands and stuff? There's got to be some of their concessionaires saying, "I'm not showing up for 3,800 people, for goodness sakes."
You combine a bad baseball team with a bad economy. I don't think you're going to be selling a lot of $18 beers for a lot of time there. No. To your point about bad baseball teams, I wrote about this last week. I have a long history of enjoying bad baseball teams. I used to rush home from whatever I was doing to watch a 54-win Braves team back in the 80s. Like there were so many bad Braves teams that I watched religiously back then, and then a lot of those late 90s Twins teams before they got good again. Like there's something charming about bad baseball. There is something charming about it,
but not at current price, not at modern prices.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
Trouble.
Those games at the Dome, I was a student. I could go for like $2.
Yes,
in the bleachers for $2.
And then somebody could buy you a beer for $3 or something like that. Yeah. So it's, at these prices, you got to be embarrassed to be charging, you got people standing up at the beer stand and they're there for hours. Somebody goes up and they try to charge them $14. You should have 2 for 1 after the 5th inning or something with these poor people. But it's bad, man alive. The people, the public are just, and Rocco's trying to, what was it today? Fear the fret or something like that. Stop. Rocco, you're no good. Your team's terrible. Okay.
You keep running into teams that can hit, pitch, and field better than you. That's the secret right here.
That is true. Now, you know what happened in 82? That team was 16-54.
Yes.
With all the young guys after they traded everybody. But they finished 44-48.
Right.
That team. So they started to show something. The team that was 16 and was it 40? I don't know. They were only 4.
They were really bad. The 82 team.
The 16 and 54. 16 and 54 they were, yes. Because the guy Eddie's great quote was, when we come to town, they ought to start the box score should say hapless twins. Because every town we go into, the first paragraph says, the Indians will be entertaining the hapless twins. Everybody said. Because they were 16-54.
I'm looking at it. You're right. 16-54. My goodness. They were 25 games out in mid-June.
Yeah. And they didn't have a 2-game winning streak. I think they had 1 2-game winning streak. They didn't have a 2-game winning streak for 2 months or something.
No.
Like that, I think.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Gosh.
God, that was fun to write, though.
Oh, God, they were bad. I'm just looking at it. From like late April till late June, they didn't have more than a 2-game winning streak. They started. Here's the thing: they started that year 3-1 too.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Maybe we're gonna have to go back and see. Were we writing? Maybe they aren't so bad after 4 games.
Yes.
But Calvin. But see that Calvin didn't trade everybody till. No. When they were 3-1, they still had Smalley and Weininger and Corbett and those guys. Yeah. Then he traded them like in late April, but Calvin he's what a character. They move into their new stadium. And he gets mad because he knows they're no good. So he trades everybody before the first month of the new
Right.
stadium. So he basically they drew 915, was it? 915.
That's right. This was first year in the Dome in 921.
921. First year in the Dome.
And here's the thing. Yeah. You want to talk about some wild attendances, too. The home opener that year, first game of the year, they drew 52,000. Game 2, 5,213. Went from 52,000 to 5,000. That's how long it took us to lose enthusiasm.
81 was the strike year.
Yes,
the last year at the Met Stadium.
Yeah.
And that team was horrible.
Oh, I'm sure.
That was 17-39. And then, I'm doing this off. And then the strike came. And then they went like 21 and 25, and they printed World Series tickets.
Just
because they were going to be in the play. They had
the first half, second half thing.
They had a chance to be in the playoffs. But
oh my gosh,
that was great, man. Because we had Billy Gardner as the manager. I've told you this story that the day they go on strike, Slick's in there having his drinks and the doors open, and the strike is starting right after the games of August 11th.
Yeah,
No, June, whatever it was, right? Or May. When the strike went. So the 17 and 39. So whatever that was.
Okay. Yep.
And that he's got his door open and he's in there having a drink and we're in there talking to him and Chuck Baker walks by, the nice guy, infielder, terrible player. And he said, yeah, 3 guys want him, the Army, Navy, and the Marines. 3 outfits want him, the Army, the Navy, and the Marines. We got him in there bad mouthing his players as they're leaving to go on strike. It was a fabulous time to be covering a team, I'll tell you.
Oh, man. Just looking at it too, man. They wandered around in the wilderness for a long time there, didn't they? I mean, some of the teams in the 70s were okay. Like they had some teams that were competitive.
The 80 team was terrible too. I think Castino led them with 13 home runs and 64.
They still won 77 games that year, so it's not like they had a bunch of teams there that, by modern standards, they probably would have been wild card contenders in a lot of those mid to late 70s teams. But then it got really bad for a while in the 80s.
I think ostensibly they were terrible in 80 because I think Castino led them. I'm doing this.
They scored.
16 home runs,
670 runs as a team that year. That's not enough.
Well, anyway, let's come on, boys.
Let's wrap it up. Yeah.
Seed you stink and start getting
they stink.
Let's go.
Yeah. Right. Hey, before we go, you wanted to mention the great Ziggy Calls.
The great Ziggy Calls passed away, the Mounds View coach. For 40-some years, it's Calls Court over there, and I got some great emails on him, including some guys who played with him. And he had these great players, Horvath. He had 3 Mr. Basketballs. He had Landsberger, he had Horvath, and he had all these guys. And he'd take his team, and he was an analytical guy. He was a math guy. He was doing math. Mm-hmm. And he'd tell a guy, you don't shoot. Don't shoot. Okay? You're playing, but we don't want you to shoot. Throw the ball to Horvath. He'll shoot. And, set a screen for Horvath. Don't shoot. That was, pass. Don't shoot.
Right. That's funny.
He was a candid coach. He would, but I'm so old. I covered him when I was a prep guy in St. Paul when I first started. Ziggy was in Mounds View, and Bob Erdman was at Ramsey. 2 great legendary guys, and both buddies of mine. And I had a great time anytime I ran into Ziggy. And him and his brother Ivars were both really good players at Hamlin. Kind of at the end of the, Hamlin wasn't a national power then, but they were still good. Those guys were there in the 60s playing for Joe Hutton, and they were. I think they were twins, but I might not be right. But they were both really good players over there, and Ziggy was just a great guy. And I had 4 or 5 people text me that that he was dying, but
Okay.
and they were all going to visit him. And so, I mean, like Thorson visited him a couple of days ago. And anyway, Zigger's calls. He was a hell of a guy.
Yeah. Yes, he was. I remember covering some of those later Mounds Views team as well. He was a legend for sure. Patrick, appreciate it. Great show. We'll do this again next week. Be well.
All right. The Wolves will be leading the series, and our Wild will have 1-1.
Okay.
All right.
Fair enough. Thanks, Patrick. Bye-bye.
Okay, goodbye.